Okay, so this is a relationship between the number of swings and the number of hits, and what we're going to try to do here is figure out what's happening, so figure out the pattern, and then write an equation to represent the pattern. So the first thing we might want to do is look at each piece individually and see what's happening. So we have number of swings, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and so that seems to be increasing by 1 each time. And then number of hits is 5, 9, 13, 17, so that's increasing by 4 each time. And so we can when we're trying to write an equation here, knowing these patterns helps us. Because when our what's called our independent variables, so the first set of a table there is going up by 1, we can look over to the other side, and if it's going up consistently, so like this one's adding 4 each time, that means that we're actually multiplying by 4, right? Because it's like we're putting on a group of 4 each time. So when we're talking about groups of 4, or like groups of, that means we're multiplying. So we know part of the equation, we're going to have to go 4 times the number of swings. So if we're looking at that, the first one is 1, so 4 times 1 is 4, but the number of hits is supposed to be 5. So we're like, oh, well, if we're at 4 and we want to get to 5, we need to add 1. So let's try and see if that works for the next one. So we'd go 4 times the number of swings, which is 2. So 4 times 2 is 8. And if we add 1, we get 9. And that seems to work. For the next one, we'd go 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13. And then 4 times 4 is 16, plus 1 is 17. So we seem to have figured out what we're doing here. So to get the number of hits, you need to multiply the number of swings by 4 and then add 1. Then we want to write that in equation form. So they've given us our variables. We're saying we're going to represent swings with S and hits with H. So if we know what the number of hits is a hint for us to think, oh, that's equals. And if something is 4 times the number of swings plus 1, then the number of hits equals 4 times the number of swings plus 1. So we have to write that. So we've got number of hits is, so that'd be H equals, then 4 times the number of swings plus 1. Well, 4 times the number of swings is represented by S, and remember, when we're multiplying a variable by a number, we put the number and the variable right beside each other. So 4 times the number of swings would be 4S, and then plus 1, we're just going to write plus 1. So that's the equation we're going to use to represent the situation. We said that H is equal to 4S plus 1. And then next we're going to use our equation to find the number of hits when the swings are equal to 10. Okay, next, so first thing we're going to do there is write out the equation, which is H equals 4S plus 1. And since we know that 10 is equal to S, or S is equal to 10, again, equivalencies works both ways, so we're going to put 10 where the S goes. And so then we need to solve that. Remember, we always do the multiplying before we do the adding, so we're going to do 4 times 10. So we've got 40 plus 1, which just gives us 41. So when the number of hits when the number of swings is 10, the number of hits is 41.